Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Racing Today. As you can see, there is a third most prettiest face on the screen. Our good friend from Turf Paradise, Craig Braddock, the announcer. How are you today?
I'm very well, Rich, and thank you for having me on. And hi, Charles. Hope you're doing well as well, my old friend.
Hi, you too. Thank you.
Charles had a good day yesterday. He called the shot and he put the ball in the bleachers, so you got to give him a high five on that. But we're here to talk about some information you want to share with us this morning. So what's going on, Craig?
Absolutely. So this is the second weekend of racing for the National Steeplechase Association. This weekend, they go down to Camden, South Carolina for the Carolina Cup races. It's historically an important event in the NSA calendar. Originally, it was the Colonial Cup races, and we've got 6 great races in Camden, South Carolina this Saturday that I'll be calling. And although we don't have a stable duel contest this weekend in Camden, that kicks off in 2 weekends' time in Tryon, North Carolina, we do have some excellent horses running who are going to be running at Tryon and in races going forward from that point where there will be stable duel contests. And I would encourage everyone to head on over tomorrow afternoon, or Saturday afternoon, I should say, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. There's a live stream of the broadcast at nationalsteeplechase.com. And get to know some jumps racing a little bit. You're going to see some of the better jockeys there, some good horses from good trainers as well. And if you're looking to educate yourself about jumps racing, and there seems to be a zeitgeist at the moment that people are waking up to jumps racing in the US. And what I'll be doing in my race calls on Saturday, if you are new to jumps racing, I'll be explaining some of the tactics that the jockeys and the horses use, because it is very different than flat racing. Mm-hmm. And hopefully if you tune in and watch the broadcast with us, and we'll help educate you a little bit on jumps racing and get you set up for the exciting stable duel contest that begin at Tryon in 2 weeks' time. But this is a great opportunity for racing fans everywhere, especially if you're not familiar with horse racing, to have an opportunity to sit back and enjoy watching an afternoon of jumps racing. We have 5 jumps races over 2 miles and 1 furlong, and we have 1 training flat race to finish off the card as well. So, bring your notebook, bring your laptop with you, and watch the live stream. Make a few notes on horses that you see running that you may want to follow during the spring campaign.
At the stable now, where can they catch that again? What's the URL for the live stream?
It is at nationalsteeplechase.com. And when you go to their homepage, it's the official page of the National Steeplechase Association. There'll be a button right there saying watch live stream. Beautiful. And it begins at 1:30 p.m. On Saturday is the first race. What I would do if I were you is we like to show the horses in the paddock, and they gallop down to the start. They don't have outriders accompanying them down to the start. So you can actually have a look at the horses gallop out on the way to post as well. And as I say, we'll be trying to give you some information about the horses and the jockeys and the kind of racing that it is, how it differs from flat racing. And it should be a great afternoon of sport. And we look forward to, I'm told there's going to be 35,000 people at Camden this Saturday. It's a huge event in South Carolina, and to bring it now to a national and indeed an international audience is great. We have some horses running at Camden this weekend who previously ran in the UK, they ran in Ireland, they ran in France. So definitely some quality horses, some great jockeys, great trainers, and their names that many racing fans may not be overly familiar with right now. But I bet as you go along through the spring season, you'll find horses, jockeys, trainers you become big fans of. And one of the great things about steeplechasing is many of the contestants there's professionals. There's also a large amateur Corinthian type ethos to jumps racing, and that makes it very fan friendly as well, because many people are on social media in the jumps racing world, especially on Twitter, and you can always come to me at Calls to Races on Twitter if you have any questions, and I'm more than happy to answer them and educate people about jumps racing. It's a fantastic sport, and really, as I said at the beginning, I think the zeitgeist is beginning to move a little bit in favor of people looking at jumps racing now, and with the stable duel contests, and then the historic Virginia Gold Cup on Kentucky Derby Day. If you're looking for another track to play besides Churchill Downs on Kentucky Derby Day, Twin Spires will be taking live wagers on the Virginia Gold Cup races, and as well as the historic Virginia Gold Cup, which is a timber race over some of the toughest but most fair fences you can imagine. There'll also be the 4-mile steeplethon, where, among other things, they also jump over a stone wall, and believe it or not, they even traverse a lake.
Wow, sounds like a lot of fun. Well, of it starts this Saturday, 1:30 p.m. Eastern. That's at nationalsteeplechase.com, right? You'll catch
yes, indeed, nationalsteeplechase.com.
You'll catch the smooth voice of our good friend Craig, and we'll post more of it over on our social sites at Horse Race the number 2 day. Horse Race the number 2 day. Make sure you tune in on Saturday with your notebook, catch some notes, write some stuff down so you'll get a jump start and a head start on everybody else so you can win the stable duel contest when they start coming up.
Absolutely.
And that crew. All righty. Hey, there he is.
Hey, there he is. Ricky Blind Dog is here. Ricky, of course, big fan of jumps racing, as you can see. And did you know, by the way, this dog right now has cashed his last 4 straight tickets on the picks he gives. And TVG, or FanDuel TV as they are now, promote his picks every day. And they never used to promote my picks at all. But now Ricky Blind Dog's picks, I kid you not, get between 5,000 and 6,000 views a day. Wow. So if you're not following the Handicapping Hound, you're leaving bones on the table.
Sounds like it. Well, make sure you check out Craig and the Handicapping Hound. Thanks for joining us today, Craig. We're going to go off, and maybe we should have him come on our show to make our picks for us at Aqueduct today.
He'd make a lot more sense than I would. Hey, before we go, can I give you a couple of horses to look out for?
Sure.
At Camden on Saturday.
Okay, fire away.
Okay, in the opening race, which is at 1:30, it's a 2-mile, 1 furlong jumps race. The number 4, Undercover Rowdy, ridden by Barry Foley. All 3 starts have been over jumps for this horse, but he has not been seen out on the race course this year. In 2022, his best effort was when he was beaten 2.5 lengths into 3rd place in a maiden claimer hurdle. Look out for that one. It's from the barn of Kerry Bryan, who is one of the top steeplechase trainers in the country. And indeed, last winter, she actually went over to Ireland and became the first American steeplechase trainer to ever train a winner of a race in Ireland. As you probably know, horse racing, especially jumps racing, is a big sport in Ireland. And then race number 5 is the feature race of the day, the 88th running of the Carolina Cup. And in this, I'm going to go for the number 3, Welshman, trained by Jack Fisher, who has won the National Steeplechase training title so many times I don't even have a room on my fingers to count them. But Welshman's going for a cross-year hat-trick, having won at Middleburg last autumn, and then won the prestigious Aflac Supreme Hurdle at Pine Mountain in Georgia last November, beating the number 1 Step Up to the Bar, who he faces again. So Welshman in the Carolina Cup will probably be Ricky Blind Dog's best bet of the day.
All right. Sounds good to hear that. But before you go, you got to say Aflac like the Aflac duck.
Aflac.
All right. Beautiful. Thank you, Craig. Again, we'll have all this stuff posted over on our social sites, and make sure you follow Craig on Twitter. He's a great follow. And you got to find the Handicapping Hound. I mean, if he's 5 for 5, that's better than we can.
Absolutely. You got to be sizzling the bacon with RBD.
Indeed. Thanks again, Craig. Have a great weekend. Enjoy your time at Camden.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on, guys. I really appreciate it. You do a great job. And thanks for all the work you do for horse racing.
We appreciate the kind words. Have a fantastic Thursday. All right, Mr. Charles, as I said, you called your shot. You hit that pick 5 yesterday. So let's see if we can get some equally strong performance from our man, Charming Charles, today at Aqueduct. A little bit... Charles, can you look up real quick the results from Mohanning Valley for Deepak real quick as we head off and set up, prep for race number 1 at Aqueduct, going to come up in about 10 minutes. Race 1 at Aqueduct is going to be 1 mile, maiden claiming $40,000 for a purse of $43,000 for 3-year-olds and up, foiled in New York State and approved by the New York State Bred Registry. In other words, state breds in this particular spot. Charles, 1 mile on the Aqueduct, 1 turn mile. does favor early speed with 23% going wire to wire. There is an outside to inside bonus. So the farther you are from the rail, it seems like the better your chances are of winning. And we do our simulations here, Charles, for race number 1. The 2 horses out, making it a 5-horse field. A little bit of a good chance that Oregano could get to the front and perhaps never leave.
Okay, well, first with the Mahoney Valley results, 1, 6, 4, 5. The 1 paid $20.
Nice.
All right. So
I don't know if they'll get a $20 horse in this race, though, up at Aqueduct.
I don't think so. But in this race, our simulation says that the 4 will have the lead, a 48% chance of getting that lead at the quarter pole. I believe so. And then, you know what? I think he's going to be actually the horse to beat also, because he's going to be out there winging it so hard. The overlays are the 1, slightly over even money, we say, and it's 3-to-1 morning line. And maybe the 3 a little bit, slightly over even money there, and slightly over 2-to-1 at morning line there.
And we do our way to the winner's circle for the New York track, Aqueduct. The 2 is out. We got a first-time starter over here in the 5, so we don't know what it's going to bring to the table. But we do know that nobody's really shown a propensity to get out front, to be the pace setter. So that all of them have some similar early pace. So I think you could have a lot of giddy up and go. This 3-horse right here does have a most late speed and is dropping in class, the only pure class dropper in here. And yesterday we mentioned in that early race where the 2-horse was that big favorite, Charles, and we mentioned that the 8-horse was one that scared me a little bit because of the fact that it was a class dropper. The 3 being the class dropper here has to scare you a little bit as well, but you don't have them in your picks.
No, because it doesn't scare me. How about that? No, I think the 4 is.
You know what scares me is that head in the little window below me.
Oh, yeah? Is that what scares you? You know, me and Terry's been carrying you, so you need to pick up the slack.
Well, I mean, okay, it's only what, the 4th month of the year, and you guys finally took over?
Oh, is that what it is? Okay. All right, but the 4 here is definitely the horse to beat in this race. I think we're going to see this play out all day. Your top 2 favorites on every race do have the best shot, but it's one of those days they all can be beat, really. I don't think there's a solid favorite here that is like lights out, no way you could lose type of bet. With that being said, I still have the 4 here winning. He's back on dirt. Trainer gets 17% with 90+ days off. I like the 1 second here. This horse ran second last 2 times. Well bet the last time. Franco stays on. That's a big plus. And then the 5 horse is my 3rd choice here. This horse is bred for speed. Dan has 3 winners from 4 starters, and Clement gets a 22% first time starters, which is an excellent number for a trainer that is excellent himself. The 6 is my price horse here. If there's going to be a price in this race, bred for speed and turf. Ran even last time out. Dunk, the trainer Dunk gets 13% overall. He's a better trainer than those numbers indicate. So I wouldn't just throw him aside just like that. But anyway, those are my choices in this race.
In the first, I got the 4-horse like you because you copied my picks. Oregano, according to the times, when we look at them, this one's run the fastest mile for all this group. So if he can just continue to run that pace, it could be tough to beat. Going to be up on the front. Looks like get the most comfortable trip of the group, although all of it look like they could be a little uncomfortable. Number 1, Midnight Express. Manny Franco, as you mentioned, has been killing it at Aqueduct. So you got to have him in there, especially for a horse that ran the top last race speed figure and finished second. Chris P, that's his favorite angle in maidens because they only had to beat 1 horse last time out to be to already have graduated. Dudley Dickerson, the one that you don't have, making the biggest drop in all of horse racing, that maiden special weight to maiden claiming, and did run better fractions last time out, Charles. I think that one could scare us at the end. And then finally, number 5, Miles. We'll give the first timer a shot over the 6 horse. There's only one other option in there. I'm going to do a pick 5 with the 1, the 3, the 4. With the 1, 3, I do think in the 3rd leg that 2 horse could be one of those horses on the card that could be really difficult to beat. 1, 5 with the 1, 3, and 5.
Yeah, and I have an ice cold exacta with the 4, 1, $10.
4-1, $10. Let's see, do we have time to go straight to race number 2? Let's take a look at this. Yeah, it says there's 3 minutes to post, so we can probably make it through race number 2. At least most of race number 2. The second race at the 8 race card today is 6 furlongs, optional claiming for $50,000. The purse is $55,000. So a pretty sizable amount of money that they're running for here. At 6 furlongs, the profile of a winner favors horses with early speed, a lot of early speed, Charles, because 43% go wire to wire. You really don't get an advantage regardless of post position. So speed is the key. Charles, according to our simulator, that speed belongs to Lady Shylock on the rail.
Yeah, and it's hard to even bet against her in this race. She's got 85% chance of having the lead. I believe that to be true. So basically, this is going to be the one popping out of the gate first, I believe. When it comes to simulation odds, though, we have that 3. There's a little bit of an overlay, slightly over 2-1, and the morning line is over 4-1. And then the 5 is even money, and the morning line is 2-1.
And in our way to the winner's circle worksheet, the way this one squares up is you got a lot of speed here, Charles. 4 of the 6 horses, they've done their best when you see the ones across the board in the past performances. The 1 and the 6 are the 2 that are probably going to duke it out. I see a shape like this. I want the speed or one that might have a little bit of late legs. The late legs belong to the 3 and the 5. I think this race could go a little bit quick, Charles. So speed of the speed definitely is the 1, and that's definitely where we're both starting.
Yeah, that's where we're going to start. Like I said, once again, the whole day is going to be kind of like this. 2 horses that are usually the favorites are going to have the best shot, but this one does have the most speed, the best speed according to our charts too. And you got a hot trainer last 14 days. I have the 5 finishing second here. Ran third the last time out. Trainer gets 22%. Second start after second start after a claim.
Mm-hmm.
And he has the speed to go with him. And there's a big plus to this horse. The trainer owns this. And why I have that as a plus, a trainer will put a horse that he owns where the horse belongs 9 times out of 10. It's when they have owners, they have to please the owners sometime. The 6 horse is my third choice. A 1 last time out. He adds Lasix today. Trainer gets 24% overall. And then my price horse in here is the 3. 1 last time out. Well bet last time. And you have a hot jockey last 7 days on it.
I like the 5, the 1 horse 2 to win, Lady Shylock. If you're comparing again the Aqueduct 6 furlong times, this one has got the fastest 6 furlong times, and it's going to have a comfortable trip. It's going to be on the lead. Only concern is it's not an overlay, so maybe you're going to pay a little too much for that one. Dream Away 7. That horse last time out won so easily in its debut that I don't think we saw the best of that horse yet. I think you're going to see a better effort here today. Number 6, Honest Banker, did have a funky start in its debut and still smoked the field. First time Lasix today could help it be even more fast today. And then finally, number 5, Curlin Squire, tied for the top last race. Speed figure has a bunch of early pace in here as well and getting a little bit of a weight break. I do like to see horses that go fast catch a weight break. A lot of speed in this race, Charles. So I'm going to go pick 4 here with the 1-3-6. Again, I'm going to single up the 2 in the next leg, the 1-5 in race number 4, and in race number 5, which is the race of death, connecting the early pick 4 and the late pick 4 with the 1, the 3, and the 5. We'll rewind quickly back to race number 1 because it looks like they're about to get cracking in race number 1. It is post time. They're still kind of circling around a little bit. As it stands now, the 1 horse is the slight favorite at 8-5 over the 4 horse at 2-1. The 3 horse is your third choice in this 5 horse field at 3-1, and then the 5 at 7-2 is the other choice. The 6 horse, the longest shot on the board at 13-1. This reminds me of when we talked to Scott Fiedler about winning these contests at Horse Players and others. It says in 5 horse fields, everybody takes the longest shot on the board. The longest shot on the board here in a 5 horse field is that 6 horse at 13-1. Let's see if indeed that angle works again. The 1 horse is now down to 3-2 as it continues to take on money. The 4 horse has crept up to 5-2. So maybe a little value in that 4 horse. And then the 3 horse at 7-2, which might be the most value in the race because we have it at, should be closer to maybe like 8-5. And it's 7-2 right now. So maybe that's the horse where you're going to get the most value right now on the 3. So that horse might be the one that makes the most sense to center your bets around. Maybe a little bit of an exacta 3 with the 1-4 and the 1-4 and the 3 based upon our simulators. Let's see if indeed that's how it plays out, Charles, as we got one more horse, 2 horses left to load, and they should be off at the opener. Oh, you got that gray, that beautiful gray, almost silver, that 5 horse Miles. And then finally the 6 horse about to go in, the longest shot on the board. It looks like he's kind of hanging on to that back left leg a little bit to me, Charles.
Yeah, you look fine.
I don't know. He kind of dragged that back left leg to me. And then of course he breaks out to the lead. So but then he went straight backwards. So the 4 horse and the 3 horse, that's the 5 and the 4 right now. The 2 that we thought would be closest to the front are near the front, but everybody had a chance, according to this, to be somewhere near the lead. As they come down the stretch, they're 4 wide across the board. The only horse that's not early on trying to compete for the lead is the 3. He's tucked in behind. So right now, Midnight Express, that favorite at 8-5, some money kind of came up with him, is on the lead at opening quarter of 24.04. And for a mile that maybe a little on the quick side for this level, tough to say. Followed to the outside by that 4 horse, our top choice, Oregano, at 2-1. The 3 horse has tucked in on the rail and a nice ground saving trip for that 3 horse, which is down to 3-1. The 1 continues to lead the way as they go through the opening half in 48-2. Again, maybe a little bit quick for this level. Tough to say. The 3 horse is starting to move up on that 4 horse now and make a little bit of move. The one that we thought could offer the most value. The 1 continues to have the lead as they come through the turn. Right now, it looks like the jockey's all out on the 3 horse. I don't know if he's going to be able to close the rest of the ground. The first one to go to the whip, but he and the 4 are battling it out, and they are starting to close ground on that 1 horse. So it does look like the 4 horse could be your winner, although the 3 horses really fighting on in between. And in the end of the race, it's going to be the horse that did offer the most value, or is it going to be the 4 horse? Their nose is going boom, 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 boom. But the 4 has a little bit of energy at the end of the race. 4, 3, and 1, Charles. That's the way it goes.
Yep.
And I'm alive on my pick 5. So I'm happy with that. And I thought you had done a double there. All right. So race 1's in the books. 4, 3, and 1 after a strong duel down the end. That exacta with the 4 and the 3 worked out pretty well. All right, Charles. Hello, brothers. How are you doing today, Sherry? Hopefully you're having a nice day wherever you are. Where are you checking in from, Sherry? Let us know. We're not brothers, by the way. We're step brothers. You ever seen the movie Step Brothers? You ever see that movie, Charles?
Oh, yeah.
That's one of the few Vince Vaughn movies that actually makes me laugh. Probably more so because of the other guy. I don't know the other guy's name, but that movie was probably a little crude, though, I think.
Oh, I know. It was good.
It was funny, but it was crude. All right, race number 3 is where we're going to go next. Again, another 6 furlong race, just like race number 2. Speed matters because more than 40% at 6 furlongs lead the field from gate to wire, find themselves in the winner's circle, wire to wire. It doesn't really matter what post position you have, Charles, because there's not a big advantage for post positions. Again, speed is going to be a key here, Charles. It looks like it's a pretty balanced race. The Reed Khan, the 2 horse, probably the one that's going to get to the front, and let's see if he can hold on.
Yeah, it's given him a 32% chance of having that lead at the quarter pole, and I believe that to be so. I think he's the fastest one here, but like you said, there's a couple other horses in here that would like to try to get to that lead and might push him. And with the 7 being out, they all kind of bump up their percentages, but overall, I think it's going to be about the same. When it comes to simulation odds, it looks like the 3 is the biggest overlay of them all. Just slightly over even money, 12-1, and that's it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you get a little bit of overlay on the 2 horse too.
Maybe a
8-5 to 6-5 looks like fair value. So if it goes off in the morning line, you're getting some value on that 2 horse in race number 3. Our way to the winner's circle worksheet on race number 3 does kind of confirm that everybody wants to be forwardly placed. You do see that the 7 is out in this race. So that makes the 1 horse the lone E horse in this group. So maybe the 1 horse can get out to the lead and make it very difficult for the rest of them to chase down. The 6 horse does have a strong late pace advantage and a 6-point advantage over everybody else when you combine the early race and the late race. Maybe that 6 is going to do some damage to both of our tickets here. Charles, I have it as my 3rd pick. Where do you got that 6 scored up as your 2nd?
My 2nd pick. Yeah, I mean, this race, I'm leaning towards the 2 horses, my top choice. I think he has the best speed. He drops in class. Trainer gets 26% after a claim, and he also gets 31% when he drops him after a claim. So he's got a double whammy here. It makes this horse super dangerous. The 6 is my 2nd choice, but like you said, the horse has some speed, kind of that scary speed. You don't know when it's going to really show up. Hot jockey, last 7 days. So he totally fits with this group. The 3 is my 3rd choice, and I was having a little bit of a hard time between the 3 and the 4 as my 3rd choice. But the 3 won last time out, cuts back in distance. And the 4 here, won last time out. This is the only horse I think has the tactical speed to close on this group, and he fits with this group. So it depends how fast they really do go in that first beginning.
Well, a lot of them kind of want to go a little bit quick. They don't have the strongest of early pace numbers, but they're all kind of bunched up together. I like the 2-horse Recon. You mentioned that Rob Altras claimed this horse out, going to throw him back out and drop him in class. I'm not so worried about the drop in class because the purse money is big enough that if the horse wins, gets claimed, and they collect the winner's check, they're going to make a nice profit on this race. Also, something that I like about this horse here is we had some conversations, if you recall, with Jose Santos Jr. last week on Horse Center, and he had mentioned that one of the things he likes to see do, as owners do, is get very aggressive on the claims and drops. And I think this is a really aggressive move by Rob Altras. I think it'll pay off as a horse that could be a single on the card. I singled him and a couple of different bets, so it's going to be the linchpin for me. Number 4, Princess James. You mentioned, Charles, one that you thought could tactically fit here and then maybe close at the end. Well, he was better across the board in terms of his internal race numbers last out, and that showed up in faster fractions at 6.5 furlongs than at 6 furlongs in the previous race. I'm just concerned about the distance. 5 times out, no wins, 2 seconds and a third. The 6 horse, Montauk Daddy, that closer in there with the +6 late pace advantage, is capable of some really big mid moves. And if you remember the old timers, Charles, he always used to say, pay attention to the turn, pay attention to the turn, right?
Yep.
Well, this course should make a big move on the turn. Is taking a small drop in class. My concern here is big fan of Trevor McCarthy. Glad to see him back on the track after his injury and rehab. But I really prefer him on stalker type horses. And this guy usually does his best on the lead. So I know that Trevor will try to save some horse at the end. Finally, number 3, Mr. Winston. The sim says you got to have him as the lone EP horse in there. That helps his cause. And you got a good odds on him. 12-1 morning line. I don't know if he'll still be there at the end, but if it is, could really make the exactas and trifectas fat if he brings home that. I'm going to do a 50-cent try. I'm going to go at Rob Altras on the claim and drop on top by itself with the 2, 3, 4. With the 3, 4, 6, with the 3, 4, 5, and 6 in the back end of my try. We're going to speed forward here like we're one of those horses popping out of the gate to race number 4. 1 1/8 miles on the main track. It's claiming 14,000 non-winners of 3 in their lifetime. The purse is 28 grand. Got a quick turn here, Charles. They're going to come out and they're going to turn left right away, which could impact the way these horse races are run at 1 1/8 on the Aqueduct track. There is a 16% chance horses can go wire to wire. Tactical speed has been the best way to find the winner's circle. Believe it or not, there is a small rail discount despite that quick turn. 2 through 7 play fair. And oddly, Charles, the best place to be is 8 and out, which you would think with that early turn, that would not be the case at all. But it's the way it's played so far. We do have a couple of scratches. I think a significant one for me was the 1A, Holy Matrimony. Not going to be a part of this mix, nor is Sinan. But early on, Regality will be part of the mix.
Yeah, with that 1A being scratched, I think now it's all the 2 horses going to go out in front. The question is, can he hang on is now more the question. And I believe so, but I'm going to tell you, it's not going to be an easy task. Uh, he's got a chance of having that lead at 26. I think it's now up in the 70s, with that, especially with the 1A out. Simulation odds, you're looking at the 2, slightly under 4-1. Well, it's 4-1 morning line, so that's about right. The 4 is slightly under 7-1. Morning line is 8-1. And the big 8 horse down there, 4-1. Well, almost slightly over 5-1. Morning line is 12-1. That's a nice overlay right there.
Yeah, and this brings into David Aragona is probably one of the better morning line setters in the country for the NYRA circuit. But you look here, this is one of these horses that has the overlay 12-1 to 5-1, and then should get a great C-zone trip. A lot of these horses don't necessarily win, but they do creep their way into the exactas and trifectas and can make those prices go up. The 7 horse is out, as we mentioned. That should put the 2 on the front, especially with the 1A out, because that was the other that was going to compete. As you mentioned, Charles, that 2 horse should have its liking on the front. Question is, can it run reasonable fractions? The other horse that has a pretty good in-race advantage is that 8 horse, a plus 11 late pace advantage. So if that one's within 2 lengths of the leaders coming down the stretch, has enough late energy to gobble them up and get to the line first with the bob of the head. We have some disagreement on here because you have the 2 up front, expecting it to go wire to wire. I don't have that in my picks.
Well, originally, before the scratches came out and everything, I had the 5 on top, but now I moved the 2 up on top because he's the lone speed. And lone speed, if the jockey does it right, which he has Pennington, a 22% rider overall the year, and, he should be able to keep him under control. This horse ran second last 2 times. He was claimed last time out. So there's a lot of things here to like. The 5 horse is now my second choice. This horse has that tactical speed. Trainer gets 25% first after a claim. And this is his horse second start after a layoff. The 4 horse is my third choice here. This horse has some of that tactical speed also that can sit back for a while. He adds the blinkers today on, and this one is more on the closing side. So I see this one finishing well. And then the 6 horse is my price horse. Some of the same thing. Tactical should be sitting around 4th all the way around. Trainer gets 21% first after a claim. So that's a good angle. And this one also be closing at the end also.
So Gene wants us to rewind back to race number 2. Thanks for joining us. We both like the 1 horse to get out to the front and stay there all the way around the track. And then we disagree a little bit about the order on the 3, 5, and 6. I'm going to do a pick 4 with the 1, 3, and 6. And then I'm going to put the 2 in this third leg as my single. 1, 5, 1, 3, 5, and my pick 4 in race number 2. We'll rewind to that too a couple of minutes before post and talk a little bit about what we see happening on the track as it's happening relative to how our simulators said it would play out. In race number, and we use the simulators in to kind of get data, but it's not the exclusive thing that we do for handicapping, just part of the mosaic. And you have a bunch of bets in this race too, Charles, in race.
Yeah, I'm going to take all 4 of my picks in this race because I just don't trust the 2 100% to go wire to wire, but I think you'll be in the mix. So I got the try box of my top 4 picks. Then I'm going to start with my top 2 picks in this race for a pick 5 and a single in the next race. And then top 2 picks in the third leg, top 3 picks in the fourth. And in the final leg, I got the top 4 picks because I believe that is probably the most wide open race there is.
And I like in the 4th race for my number 1 selection, the one that you did have on top at first. You were right the first time, Charles. Breadman is the first off the claim for trainer Robert Falcone Jr., 25% angle for the trainer. But what really stood out to me is it has some really good workout since switching barns. Tells me they found something there that they adjusted. It's going to work out to that horse's favor. Number 1, Strong Light. This is one of Terry's favorite angles in here. The 1A was also in this race, but got scratched. Terry says that he trusts the trainer, and I've seen it work out way too many times where they have an entry and 1 scratches and 1 stays in. And even though the one that stays in didn't look as good as the one that got scratched, the one that stays in still goes on to win. The Z-Zone here says at 95% chance that this horse will be in its wheelhouse all the way around the track. Jay Stalker, the 4. Manny gets off the 5 horse here. to ride. So Manny was on the 4-horse, and he got on the 5-horse instead. So that tells me I like the 5 better than the 4, because Manny's been hot as heck there. Manny hadn't ridden the 5 in any of the last 10 and got off the 4. So something happened there, although the 4-horse was better across the board. And the short resume on this one says there should be a big jump up in the second up after a layoff. And it is 1-for-1 at the distance. So I got to wonder if Manny made the right call there. Finally, number 8, Hang Tight, was a tough call for me over the rest of this field, but does have that very strong late pace advantage. And I don't think with this group is going to be all that far from the front. A little bit of an overlay, as we mentioned, got a very strong high C-zone score. I've seen way too many of these since we've introduced the C-zone to skip it. Trifecta for me, the 1-5 over the 1-5-4 over the 1-4-5, 6, and 8. Off we go to the 5th race out of 8 here, Charles, as we work our way through the New York card. 1 mile. This one's claiming $25,000, non-winners of 3 lifetime. At the 1 mile distance, as we spoke about, I think that was what they ran the first race, was 1 mile. So we saw early speed did okay. Those 3 that were up in the front stayed up in the front. They kind of switched order a little bit as they went around the track, but not by much. 23% of the horses go wire to wire. There is an outside to inside bias where the 8 gets a big, big, big bonus. Charles, our simulations for race number 5 show us that there is not an 8-horse. The 6 is scratched, but the outside speed belongs to the outside 7, Raffinity.
Yeah, it looks like that 7's going to have the lead going all the way around. I guess the big question here is, can he hang on? Yeah, he's going to have the lead at the quarter pole most likely. Then when it comes to simulation odds, we're looking at the 2, slightly over 7-1, and the morning line's 10-1. And we got the 4 at 4-1, and morning line is 12-1. And then we got that 7, slightly under 4-1, and the morning line is 12-1.
And you got that whole combination again. Strong C-zone score, tied for the top, overlay as well. And this one's going to be on the front. And I don't have them in my picks, but was one of my next picks up. It did honestly make me nervous not putting that 7 in there. I made the calculation that it's going to fade at the end, Charles. I'm not 100% positive, but we'll see in race number 5. The 7 does sit out here as your lone E, Charles. Oof. But when I did the math for recency bias, all but the 5 have some similar early pace. So I think all of these horses will be pressed up on the 7, which could then make it fade, as I thought could be the case. If that's really what works out, then you're going to want some late speed, which now belongs to the 1 and the 2 horse. We'll see if that 7 can run some slowish fractions and maybe steal this one up on the front. Neither one of us think it's going to be the winner. We have the 3 and the 1, but just in inverse order.
Yeah, I think the 1's in a better spot here because he does close a lot better. And he can keep himself up there, like you said, with that 7. I do believe the 7 will have the lead, but who's going to be second and third is the next question. I think the 1 will be one of those. This horse won last time out. Trainer gets 32% when he puts him right back in the same claiming level as last time. And you got a hot trainer jockey combo here. And then the 3 is my second choice. Tactical speed, like I said, we said basically sitting third or whatever, right around there, and drops in class. And Gomez knows her very well, so he's been riding her for a while now, so he should know everything about this horse. Gomez's numbers have dipped a little bit, but you know what? That usually happens after you get off the bug and all that stuff. So, talking about bug riders. The bug rider is on the 7, so you got 7 pounds less weight on this horse. So the horse,
and then it's going to be going fast.
He's got a feather on her back. So I ran third last time out. Well bet last time. Big question is, can she hang on? I think she can for at least third. And then my price horse here is the 4. Has speed. Blinkers are off, which telling me they want her to relax a little bit more. And the trainer gets 25% on that actual move. So
I'm going to start with Sister Linda. That's my top pick. This one's running it's only run 7 races so far in its career. This is going to be the lowest level that it's ever run at. The maiden win came off the bench like today. The workouts say she's going to be legit today. And when you rewind through the past performances, you'll see that the best races, two best races, came after the horse had a little bit of a time on the sidelines. Number 1, Patty Cakes, your top choice. Fair value, according to our simulation. Fast Track today. Fast Track's the favorite surface. 6 times out, 2 wins, a second and 2/3. Another one that's been working out pretty fast. Number 5, Rhubarb Martini. I don't know how that sounds very good, but
I don't know. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that anyway. But this one came off the bench after almost a year in the barn and ran actually some better fractions than it had in a long time. And on top of that, since running faster fractions, it's got 12 furlongs of workouts between races. I think this horse stands a chance to be much better in the second round after nearly a year away from racing. Finally, number 2, Simple Sugar, gets that 4th spot for me. This one held its speed longer in the past performances and did so with better late pace numbers. So you see the horses carrying the 1 instead of maybe through a half a mile, carried it through 3/4 of a mile, and then on top of that, improved its late pace. So I think that's a sign of a horse that's absolutely fit. I'm going to do a pick 4 here. Charles with the 1, the 3, and the 5, with the 3, 5, 7, with the 3, 6 in race number 7, and in the final leg, the 3, 4, 5, and 6. Charles, one of those horses is short price. The rest of them are bombs. So I hope the short price horse doesn't win and one of the bombs does collect at the end.
Yeah, but you know how that usually turns out.
Well,
It's like hitting the all button.
No. Well, yeah, because then you're guaranteeing that favorite's going to win.
It's guaranteeing the favorite's going to win.
Yeah, I know how that goes. That happens way too often.
Yeah, it does.
6, they're going to truck around the track 1 more mile again, claiming $40,000 for a purse of $60,000. 1 mile profile of a winner, as we've mentioned a couple of times already, does favor early speed. About a quarter of the horses go wire to wire. The farther you are from the rail, the higher the win rates go for post positions. In race number 6, got a field shortened up by a couple of scratches. So it's down to a field of 5, Charles.
Yeah, which I think now really makes that 7 even look better in a field of 5, getting that lead at the quarter pole. 66% right now. Even though the other 2 horses didn't have much of a chance getting that lead, it does help the 7 a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But the 5 horse might have a say in this, a 22% or almost 23%. So we'll see how that really turns out. But the simulation odds, the 1 is an overlay. You got basically 2-1, morning lines 3.5-1. And that's it when it comes to overlays in this race.
Yeah, that's it. When it comes to the way this race shapes up in race number 6, the 5 and the 7 are a couple horses that can be pilots or co-pilots. They'll probably sit and determine what the pace is. Although the 3 could engage early with probably the 7. The recency numbers say that those 2 are the fastest. Got 2 of the closers out. That means there's 1 back here all by itself. Going to have the most late speed out of the group, but still not too much better than everybody else's. Pace does make the race. I think the pace probably favors these 4 horses in here. Charles, what do you think?
Yeah, pretty much that's how I have it. Those 4 horses there. The 7 is my top choice here, but this horse has the speed, as it shows. This horse cuts back. Cox gets 22% when he rests them up 46 plus days. You got a hot jockey last 7 days on this horse. I see this horse winging. The other speed horse, like you kind of indicated, was the 3. I think that 3 is going to be right there, sitting second all the way around. Trainer gets 21% after a claim. Franco's aboard. That's a big danger right there. The 1 is my 3rd choice. This one's got more of a tactical speed, more on the closing side. He drops in class today. He's back at the claim level that he was at before, that he was winning at. So he fits very well with this group. And then my price horse here is the 5. He drops in class today. Trainer gets 24% when he rests them up 46 plus days, and he cuts back in distance today. And he does have some speed to keep up with them, which I think he'll be sitting more or less 3rd instead of 2nd. I think right behind the 3.
And you got a $10 exacta, a box,
Yeah.
Not ice cold this time.
It's not ice cold. It's a 7-3 exacta box, $10.
I think the 7 horse is going to get to the front, probably not going to give it up. 1-for-1 at Aqueduct, at the distance, twice out with a win in a second. The most impressive number of all of these is trainer Brad Cox. Been dominating at Aqueduct, winning at 39%. It's a big number. The 5 horse Empty Tomb is another one of those horses that likes to spend a little bit of time in the barn. They come back and run real well. The last 2 times this horse had some time off, it came back to find the winner's circle. And, as you dig through the workouts to try to get a little key, it doesn't look like they really matter, because the last time the horse came off the bench, the workouts before it were slow and dull, and it still went on to win. The 3 horse, 235, really difficult to play away from Manny Franco in here, especially for a horse that has the top numbers at the distance. Finally, number 1, Famished, which is something I am right now. I haven't eaten yet today. Eric Cancel stays here instead of on the 2. It was, to me, there really wasn't a big difference between the 2 and the 1, the 2 that are left in here. So I went ahead with the 1 with the lone closer. I think you could put the 2 back there too. Might not matter. It is a 5 horse field again. So again, as Scott told us, from the winner of all those contests, you want to make sure that Scott Fiedler, that you want to take the longest shot on the board. Didn't work out in the first race, but maybe it'll work out in the 6th race. I'm going to do a $2 exact, the key box. I'm going to go the 7 over the 3 and the 5, and then the 3-5 over the 7. I do think that 7 will be on the front. Maybe one of them gets a nose in front of him at the wire. Let's see, Charles, do we have time? We got 2 minutes for race number 2. You want to, let's just go back and kind of recap our thoughts for race number 2 before they get started on there. So rewind a little bit to your race 2 and take us through your thoughts again on the second race.
Okay, race 2. We got the 1 horse definitely, I think, has the speed. You got a hot trainer last 14 days. The horse ran second the last 2 times. Definitely the horse to catch and beat. But the 5 could do it. 5 is my second choice here. Ran third last time out. Trainer gets 22%, second after a claim. And the owner, this is where the trainer owns part of the horse. So I always think that's very dangerous when you see that. The 6 horse is my third choice here. Same with you. 1 last time, adds Lasix. Trainer gets 24% overall. And my final horse, which is your second pick, the 3, 1 last time out. Well bet, got a hot jockey in the last 7 days, so it makes him dangerous, I have to say.
Well, the 5 horse has pretty much been the better choice all the way through the post parade here. It's 5-2 right now, so not really endorsed to the point where it makes you fearful. In fact, at 5-2 is a little bit of an overlay from the morning line odds of 2-1. So you see that horse's odds go up a little bit. The 1 horse has been bet down now. Now it has taken over the favorite status at 5-2 for Lady Shylock. As far as next up on the board, you're looking at the 6 horse, the third pick in there. Honest Banker. One's taken a lot of money relative to its morning line. The morning line was 6-1. Right now it's at 5-2 and has a shot to perhaps be the favorite by the time the gates open at gate time, as they call it down in Australia. They're still kind of circling around a little bit behind the starter's gate. So I know in Florida it's warm. People down there just lose track of time. What's the excuse in New York where it's like 30 degrees today?
I don't know. You'd think they'd be rushing it. Like, come on, let's go. We're freezing here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think it's probably a nicer day overall there because, it's always quiet before the storm. We got a big storm hitting the south here. So it's going to be heading up, of course, towards New York later on after tomorrow. But tomorrow's the big day. Everyone's got to be careful out there. If you live in Mississippi, Arkansas, Tennessee, and Kentucky, big danger, big storm coming.
Well, make sure everybody stay safe. Go somewhere where you are definitely protected from some of those potential pop-up tornadoes, which we've seen way too many of those in the spring. Happens every year, right? In Tornado Alley. Just make sure that you're prepared in case. Don't stray too far away from your basement, right? That's where you got to go, or in the bathtub or something like that, Charles?
Yeah. Gotta go. Well, I have a shelter myself, but yes, if you have a shelter or a basement, those are your number 1 spots, and your number 2 spot is definitely the bathroom tub.
Do you have red slippers too?
Yes, I do.
Ruby red. There's no place like home. There's no place like home. I know you got the dog, but you don't have a Toto type dog. You have a bigger,
I have a big one,
bigger, meaner one.
That's right.
All right, so now they're approaching the gate, getting ready to load in race number 2. According to our simulations, the 1 horse is the very likely leader at the quarter-mile marker. The 6 horse could give chase. Everybody else probably going to tussle for where they want to be in position behind the inside and outside horse. As far as our C-zone is concerned, it looks like the 1, the 2, and the 4 are going to get trips that are very comfortable for them based upon when they've run their best in the past. The odds right now have shifted back to the 5 horse as the favorite at 2-1. So right on David Aragona's line. The 1 horse is your second favorite right now at 5-2. So not too far off from where David had that one. Next up is the 6 horse, Honest Banker, at 3-1, followed by the 4 horse, Lockbox, at 9-2. The 3 horse right now at 5-1. So David did a great job setting the lines on this one. The 2 horse at 14-1 is your longest shot on the board. Charles has the no bets here. I have the pick 4 started with the 1, 3, and 6. And I think in my pick 5, I had the 1 and 3 in here. So I'm certainly hoping that the 5 or the 6 don't show up in this race, Charles.
Yeah. Well,
late money came barreling in on the 1 horse to make it the favorite, Charles.
Yeah, and I think that's where it should be. I mean, like I said, today you're going to see this between 2 horses every race. Who's going to be the favorite? And they have the rights to be the favorite, and that's the way it is.
Well, they're open, and they lined up across the board. Everybody's kind of trying to fight for the lead, Charles. It does look like as they settle out, the 4 horse is the one that said, I'm not really want to being a part of this. The 1 horse with the 2 to the right, to the outside, the 3, and then the 6, the 5 is kind of tailing off a little bit on that, which might work to its favor because they might be going a little bit fast the way everybody came charging out of the gate there, Charles. Right now, it looks like that 6 horse Honest Banker has stuck its nose in front of everybody else. That one looks like it has the advantage. My 3 horse right now kind of struggling a little bit in the back. The 4 and the 5 and the 4, yeah,
they're
the 4
all
and the 5 in the
struggling.
back. Yeah, they're all, looks to me like the 6 horse right now has its a chance to have its way. The 1 horse is going to try to get a trip up the rail right there. On the outside, you got the 5 horse, but this one looks like the 6 horse's race to win, Charles.
Yep.
So I got a shot on my pick 6 with the 6 horse. I got the 1, the 3, and the 6. Unfortunately, it wiped out my pick 5. So hopefully the pick 4 can get it. 5 horse is trying to make up a little bit of ground, but the 6 horse has got this race. It's going to go 6, then 5, and then the 4. 6, 5, and 4, Charles.
Yep.
All right. There you go. Second race in the books. Unfortunately, I didn't go 3 deep on my – I don't know why I didn't go 3 deep there, Charles. I should have, right? Should have done the same thing.
Well, like yesterday for me, if I would have played a pick 6, I would have hit that too. I mean, but after a while, what do? You got to start eliminating somewhere when you get that $100 budget too. So, hey.
Should have still win another one. All right. Anyway, race number 7, Charles, is the marquee race of the day. Optional claiming $62,500. Non-winners of 2. Purses $84,000. So they're running for a nice chunk of change in there. At 7 furlongs, the style that does best is tactical speed. Usually want to be second or third at the quarter-mile marker. Although if you're first, you do have a 26% chance to take them from go all the way to photo. The rail has a bonus, so Happy Farm, and 8 and Out does pretty well. 2 through 7, not deal killers, but they do run a little bit under par for the distance. At our simulator for race number 7, Charles tells us that the big engine is not in this race, but there's plenty of speed in the middle with Skokatori and High Oak.
Yeah, there's plenty of speed here. You got the 5 at basically 30%, having that lead at the quarter pole. But look at the 4, it's going to 25%. And now look even at the 1 at 22%. And let's put this way, even the bottom horse, the 8 horse, the outside horse, even wants to have a say in the whole thing. So you got a lot of horses out there, cavalry charge in the beginning of the race instead of at the end. We got the simulation odds here. It looks like the 3 slightly over even money, and you got 2.5 to 1 odds on the morning line. That'd be an overlay. And then that 8 horse, 5 to 1, and the morning line says 15. So I guess that's your key overlay horse in this race.
Sorry, I misspoke. It was the 2 horse that came in second. So 6, 2, 4, and 5. The 2 at a nice price. It's interesting here is the 6 did have a good chance to get a good ride, as did the 2. The 5, not so much, but the 4 indeed. So if you had just boxed the 4 horses that had the best C-zone score, you would have had your trifecta right there, Charles. The 6, the 2, and the 4. And that's probably going to be a high-paying trifecta, I would imagine, with that 2 horse coming in the middle and the 2 favorites, the 1 and the 5, running off the board, at least in terms of the top 3, silver, gold, or bronze medalists. In race number 7, you got a lot of horses in here that want to press the pace. The 8 could be out there by itself as the lone E, although the boxes that are squared off tells you who's been the fastest of late. You got 4 of them there. So I'm expecting a lot of speed up in front here, Charles. Could be an action-packed, fast race. Those usually favor the speed or horses that have the most late pace. With the 7 out, the 3 now takes that title. It's the horse with the most late legs. Does it take the title for you as the winner?
And that's why I made it as my best bet of the day. That was my final. I had like 4 horses throughout the whole day that I was trying to choose as my best bet. And it was because of this, the scratch here and the way it was setting up. This horse has the best late kick. This horse should be in the catbird speed. He has that tactical speed. He ran second last time. He's bred for this type of race. Frankel's aboard. So I think there's enough pluses here for that. The 6 horse is my second choice here. This horse ran 3rd last time out. You got a hot trainer and jockey combo in the last 14 days. Definitely this horse has some speed to keep up. The 5 horse is the second start after a layoff. If you toss out his last race, he does have some back class, and which makes him a little scary. But he's going to have to start waking up, of course. You got a hot jockey in the last 7 days aboard. And then my price horse is that 8 horse that we've been talking about with the overlay and everything has speed to actually go to the front or sit right off of them. Trainer gets 18%, 46 plus days. Got some solid works in this horse. Pennington is aboard.
For me, I'm going to switch the order for you. I got that 3 horse as my top selection here. Excuse me, the 6 horse is my top selection. Sheriff Bianco. Not far from being undefeated. I think the longest it's been off the winner at the finish line is like 3/4 of a length, maybe a length, something like that. And all 6 races at Aqueduct. Finished in the race 100% of the time. Has a bullet workout on March the 24th. The fastest 4 furlong work of 147 horses. Ran that 4 furlongs in 47 and 2. Got a snap back in store for a big race from Sheriff Bianco today. King Angelo, your best bet of the day that you got $25 to win on, ran better pace numbers in the beginning, the middle, and the end of its last race. And that all added up to faster fractions. The only problem for me is this guy likes to hang a little bit late, Charles. 4 times out at Aqueduct, has 1 win, 3 seconds. And last time I think it finished second by a nose as well. So kind of fishing around for other horses as it gets close to the finish line. Number 1, Happy Farm is my 3rd pick. Highly consistent output from this horse. If you look at its speed numbers, low ceiling, high floor, not a lot of variance. So the horse doesn't have a lot of upside, doesn't have a lot of downside. Going to make a strong mid-move. The distance is the concern for me. And then finally, number 1, Scocciatori. I probably screwed that up. But anyway, is the first off the claim. A 21% angle for Rudy Rodriguez. And the horse has some decent workouts for Mr. Rodriguez since switching barns. And there's another one that tends to run its best with some time off. I'm going to do a double, the 3-6 here, Charles, with the 3, 4, 5, and 6 in that last leg because, as I mentioned, a little bit of foreshadowing, as they call it in the TV business. I got some bombs after what's likely to be the top choice in the final leg, final race at Aqueduct today, which is going to be one of those claiming races. It's a maiden claiming $25,000 for the purse of $35,000 for New York state breds. 6 furlongs does favor horses that like to giddy up and go when the gates open because 43% of them do take the tape going wire to wire. Don't get any particular advantage regardless of post position, Charles. So it's so many that have won being up on that lead. Iron Horizon. 80% chance to get the lead, a 40% chance. That means a 32% chance if it has the lead to go wire to wire.
Yeah, and you know what? It definitely has that shot. Like I said a little bit earlier today, that this is probably the most wide open race, I believe. because of this reason right here. The 4 has all rights to go wire to wire. Hasn't really shown me that he can do that, but he's got an 80% chance, like you said, and you got a couple other horses in here that might want to push him a little bit. You got simulation odds here. It looks like the 7. I mean, basically, you're giving money to win money. No, 1 to 5, whatever that is, 1 to 2. You got 2 to 1 odds on morning line. That's your biggest overlay in this whole race.
And I tossed them.
And you tossed them. That's interesting. And but look at the comfort zone. There's a lot of horses. This is about right for them. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a very tough.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, none of them are really high, so all of them are going to be uncomfortable, is what that's kind of telling me. Though the 4 outside horses are likely to get the trips that are most in their comfort zone. Gentleman Burglar might get one as well. The last time we're going to take a look at the way to the winner's circle worksheet. You got a couple first-time starters in here with the 2. You don't know what that's going to bring. You don't know what the 8's going to bring. Got a couple horses in here that are never close types, the NCs. Although the 5 horse might prove to be a little bit different today. So the 3 and the 1 haven't shown much to date to make you think they got a chance. This 5 horse, though, when you look at some of its race internals, it matches up pretty well with everybody else in here. The 7 horse does score the best late speed, does score the top early pace, late pace combination in the field. But I have my reasons for tossing it. I'll tell you why in a minute, Charles. But before I tell you why I'm tossing that one, you tell me why it's going to live up to those unbelievable simulated odds.
Well, I don't know about living it up because I'm very scared of the 6 and the 4 also just as much. I did end up with the 7 on top. This horse cuts back today. He's 3 for, or I should say she's 3 for 4 last year in the money. But this is a 5-year-old maiden, and I'm sure that's probably what makes you think this horse ain't going to do it.
Well, there's other things in there, but that's part of it.
That is not, it's not my favorite thing to bet on when it's a 5-year-old maiden going against 3 and 4-year-olds. But 3-year-olds against 5-year-olds usually is not the best ticket either. But in this situation, it could be. The 6 horse is my second pick. Could be just as much as a winner as you're going to see with my bet. Hound Speed cuts back. You've got Franco board. And then the 4 horse is bred to have speed, adds blinkers and Lasix today. So we might see that out of that 4 even more so than what it's indicating. So I think that 4 could be pretty dangerous today. And then I'm going to take a first-time starter in here that shows you how wide open this whole race is. There's only, 2 first-time starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm taking one of them. This one's bred for this type of distance, solid workouts. And so let's see what it brings us. And I got a bet here with my top 2 picks on top, but then I'm going, the 2, I added the 2 and the 4 in the second leg. I mean, the second part of it. And then I even added the 1 at the back part.
So I tossed the 7 for a couple of reasons. Number one, last time out, the horse actually regressed despite running the top last race speed figure. And then secondly, so far it's had 26 chances to win and hasn't collected the winning ticket yet. So I'm going to go with the horses that have a less experience, more room for upside. Stellwagen Banker, that 6 horse, gets my top nod. As much as I don't want to pick what's likely to be the favorite, this horse is the only one that was racing in open company at Laurel, not versus state breds. So it is dropping in class, but because it is moving back to just moving into for the first time state bred only, it's taking a bigger drop than it might actually look like on paper. The 4 horse Iron Horizon did pop out of the gate, as you mentioned, in that debut, and then just went straight backwards, Charles. So they're going to throw some blinkers on it, see if that can get the horse to focus a little bit more. And that first time Lasix, so maybe the horse went straight back because something went wrong, couldn't breathe. Maybe the Lasix fixed that today. Number 3, Cambalito. All right, time to take a flyer in here, Charles, at 12 to 1 morning line. Simulated odds, 99 to 1. I hope it goes off at 99 to 1 and wins. It's catching a weight break here. And if you look at the workouts, they've been pretty good. Read through the race notes for the couple of races that the horse has had already, and it's had nothing but problems in its trips. Get off to a good start here. Who knows what that horse will do? And finally, number 5, Mr. Busta. That is as I mentioned in my Way to the Winner Circle worksheet there, that is that no contest horse whose numbers do kind of match up here a little bit. The last time we had a horse that was sitting out there in the no contest zone, Charles, can you remember which one that was?
No.
Maybe you weren't on the show. Maybe it was Terry that was with me. I don't remember. But Murder Hornet down at Gulfstream Park with Emma Jane Watson was a no contest, never close horse that had numbers that squared up and actually came through and won that race and paid, I think, something like, I don't know, like $20, $22, something along those lines. So maybe we could see the same thing out of Mr. Busta today at 99 to 1. I'm going to do a 50-cent try box. I'm going to go 4, 5, 6. Hope that 7 does run off the board in its 24th attempt to win. And hopefully the 3 longest shots come home for me, because that'll make for a nice pick 4, a nice trifecta to end the week at Aqueduct tomorrow. I will be back live at probably the same time, around 1 o'clock Eastern, with my good friend Thomas for Foreign Fridays, when we're going to cover Doncaster. It is the official opening of the turf season over there in Europe. So there is some importance to that. So tune in for that. You can check out some great turf racing on Friday. Saturday, Charles, Terry, and myself will return. We'll do our best to try to hit and win whichever carryover has the most money in it for Saturday's racing, wherever that might be. We'll keep you informed with our social sites. You'll see them scrolling down below. So hit the subscribe button while you're here. Tell your friends about us. And also let us know that you like us with thumbs up on Facebook and YouTube as well. Retweet us, whatever it is that you do. Charles, our full picks are on the screen for today. Any final thoughts before we get up and get out of here?
No, just like I said a little bit earlier today, everyone, please be safe for tomorrow's storms coming in if you're on the east. And our hearts now go out to everyone that lost a loved one in that helicopter crash here in Kentucky near Fort Campbell.
Just mayhem one day after the next.
Yeah,
right?
It is.
Can we just have one day of just like nothing happening?
Yeah, please.
Yeah, that would be nice. Remington Park is the free track today over at Guaranteed Tip Sheet. Just head on to the link down in the description below. A lot of Win and Wave BC going to be the best bet in the opener there, starting at 6 p.m. Eastern. So if you're going to bet that Oklahoma track, make sure you head over to Guaranteed Tip Sheet. The Final Four kicks off tomorrow. Charles, you have any picks for that one yet?
Not yet, but I'll announce them on
It's Saturday. I'm sorry, it's Saturday. They picked 4.
Yeah.
But our good friend, I know Major League Baseball starts today, because on the Kennedy Expressway on the way home today, I saw a sign, billboard. It's opening day for the Chicago Cubs here in the Windy City. Probably opening day in other places. Our friend Picks with the Professor made his mark playing baseball games as a statistician, a teacher at a university. So make sure you tune in for that, because baseball is nothing if not stats. And that's nothing if you're not winning your bets. So make sure you check that out. That wraps it up for us today, Charles. Wire to wire at Aqueduct. No matter what you're doing, wherever you're doing it. I know yesterday we had some folks say that they were trying to do their side hustle at work at the track. So whether you're side hustling at work at the track, you're outside cutting the grass like our good friend Charles yesterday, just kind of hanging around to see what's going on or making some bets. We hope that God's favor shines upon you, and that no matter what you're doing, your picks, your day, everything ends up in
the winner circle.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for joining us. Look forward to seeing you tomorrow for Doncaster. Have a fantastic Trent Thursday.
That's right.